Ranger hit the ground before I even processed the sound. A deafening blast sliced through the still morning air. Neighbors ducked, reacting as though a war had erupted in the middle of our quiet cul-de-sac. And there stood Karen, the queen of yoga pants, in my front yard with a smoking gun, her face a mask of fury and disbelief. Ranger, my service dog, my lifeline, was lying still by the door where I'd told him to go. My vision narrowed. Every muscle in my body jolted to attention, like I had just been thrown back into combat. "What did you do?" I yelled, rushing to Ranger's side. Karen's hands shook, her voice cracking like a broken radio. "He didn't listen. He didn't obey the order." Welcome to the world of HOA madness. Hit that subscribe button and drop a comment letting us know where you're watching from. Neighbors flooded out of their homes, shouting, filming, pointing, panicking. Ranger let out a soft, dazed whine, conscious but hurt, and I scooped him up like he weighed nothing. Karen stood frozen, gun still raised, her eyes darting as if she were trying to rewrite the laws of reality in her mind. But to understand how we ended up here, how a simple suburban morning turned into a full-blown HOA catastrophe, you need to rewind 24 hours. Because the chaos didn't begin with the gunshot. It began with the clipboard. The day before, Karen marched up my driveway in full tyrant mode. Her clipboard gripped tightly like it was some sort of sacred relic, leggings stretched to their absolute limits, hair pulled back in a bun so tight it seemed like her brain was getting cut off. She came for her usual inspection rounds, which typically involved her yelling at people, issuing absurd fines, and getting into shouting matches with anyone who dared not follow her ridiculous rules. Behind her trailed her enforcer, a man who looked like he had failed mall cop training and was bitter about it. I was sitting on the porch with Ranger at my feet, enjoying a rare peaceful moment with a coffee mug in hand after a rough night. Ranger nudged my leg every time my breath caught. He always knew when I was struggling. He was trained for it, built for it. He was my anchor. But Karen hated that. She glared at Ranger like he was some sort of public health hazard. Violation 1 for C, animal not on leash, she declared. Violation 1AA, unregistered domestic pet. I responded calmly. He's a service dog. He's exempt from HOA pet rules. Karen blinked at me as if I'd spoken an entirely foreign language. Everything is under HOA rules, she shot back. Your lawn height, mailbox color, even how far your trash lid opens, she pointed dramatically. And that dog, Ranger looked up at her with the most uninterested stare, as if she were just a tree stump that made things worse. I repeated myself. He's not a pet. He's trained and he's legally exempt. Karen didn't care about any of that. She craved control. The moment she couldn't dominate, it felt like a personal affront. She stormed off, muttering under her breath, "I'll be back. You'll regret this," and boy, did she mean it. The very next morning, she returned, looking like a deranged villain from a cartoon, waving a stack of fines so thick it seemed like she'd spent the entire night printing them just to fuel her anger. Her enforcer carried some kind of animal catch pole as though he were preparing to wrestle a dragon. I was outside again, tossing Ranger's favorite toy, when she shoved the fines into my chest. "You owe $740, she stated with glee. "And the dog will be confiscated until he's properly registered." I looked at her, stunned. "You're not taking my service dog." Her enforcer lunged at Ranger, but he didn't get very far. I stepped in front of him, grabbed his wrist, and shoved him back with enough force that his feet scraped across the grass. He stumbled right into Karen, knocking her clipboard into the air. Paper scattered everywhere like confetti at the worst parade dot, and then Karen snapped. Without warning, she reached behind her enforcer, drew a gun, and pointed it straight at me. "Don't move!" she screamed. "I swear, I'll shoot." I locked eyes with her. The wild, unhinged look in her gaze told me she was willing to do whatever it took to assert her twisted version of control. I didn't want Ranger to be caught in the middle of her power trip, so I turned to him and spoke the words he'd understand. "Ranger," I said calmly. Inside, Karen screamed, "Stop!" as Ranger moved away, defying her command. "Stop!" she screamed again. But Ranger didn't listen. Boom, the world shattered. She fired without hesitation. I lunged toward Ranger, panic flooding my mind, shocked and horrified that she'd actually done it. And it hit me all at once. This woman had completely lost it. Fast forward to the present. Neighbors screaming, police sirens blaring, and me hauling Ranger into the back of my truck like my life depended on it. Karen screamed after me, "You can't leave. I have to file the incident report." As if shooting my dog was just a simple paperwork error, I slammed the door, shot her a final glare, and muttered, "You're finished." I sped out of the cul-de-sac, racing to the emergency vet. They took Ranger in immediately, working with clinical precision. I paced the waiting room, fists clenched, adrenaline still coursing through my veins. An hour later, the vet came out. "He's stable," she said. "You got him here in time." Relief crashed over me, so intense I nearly collapsed. Once Ranger was stable, I headed straight for the police station, and there she was, Karen, still raving in a holding cell, still convinced she was some kind of HOA supreme ruler. Her enforcer sat in the next cell, completely silent, panicking. I gave my statement, and the detectives told me the videos from neighbors matched my account. The footage from doorbell cameras, balcony phones, even a kid's drone provided more than enough evidence. Karen's charges were about to hit her like a freight train. Felony harm to a service animal, animal cruelty, illegal possession of a firearm, discharging a weapon in a residential zone, assault with a deadly weapon, reckless endangerment, HOA extortion. Her enforcer was in even worse shape. The gun was his, and his criminal history was about to get a whole lot longer. Add unlawful firearm possession and attempted seizure of a service animal to his list. The court day arrived. The entire neighborhood showed up, as though it were a live event. Karen walked in, puffed up like she still had any power left. She tried tears, blaming Ranger, blaming me, blaming the clipboard. Then they played the video. Karen, gun raised. Ranger calmly walking away. Karen firing. The judge looked like she'd been hit with a truck. Sentencing, 5 years in prison, massive fines, restitution, and a lifetime ban from HOA leadership. Her enforcer got 10. Karen collapsed in a heap, crying as though the universe had wronged her. Her enforcer stared down at the floor, his entire world crumbling. The HOA board kicked Karen out immediately, tearing down every ridiculous rule she had ever pushed. As for Ranger, he made a full recovery. Back to work, back to being my anchor. Every time I walk past the HOA office, I smile, knowing that the self-proclaimed dictator of Willowbend Court, who tried to control everything from mailboxes to lawn heights, ended up losing everything because she pointed a gun at the wrong dog. And the owner of that dog? He wasn't the type to stay silent. He took her reign of terror and tore it apart. The end.